You're watching Just Picture It, and I'm Fung. Our show is here in Palo Alto, which is right next to Stanford University in the San Francisco Bay Area, where entrepreneurs from around the world come to start up the next Google or Facebook. To learn about what it takes to begin a startup company, students from Singapore have been coming to study part-time at Stanford and work full-time as interns. Tonight, we have Eric Ko from the Singapore National University to talk with us about students in startups. And we're joined by two of the Singapore students, Selian Silvaraju and Ajay Gopal.
Thank you.
Welcome, Eric.
Hi, Melin.
Hi, it's great to have you here.
Thank you.
So what an exciting job you have, bringing students over to the Silicon Valley. How did this all start?
So it happened back in 2001, where NUS wants to just provide a program for students who want to step out of the norm and come to the greatest place on earth, Silicon Valley, where they can experience startups from world-class entrepreneurs themselves.
Okay. So I see the light bulb comes on in their head, right? And then they decide they want to do something that's out of the norm. No more engineering 101.
Right, exactly.
And they're going to find out about the real world and come over to Silicon Valley. How does it all work? What brings them over?
So I think it's really the desire of the students themselves that they want to do something different, because it's a huge leap of faith coming away from Singapore and going into a very foreign environment. So that's what the students do is they come in, they are thrown into the deep pool of the startup itself, and they are supposed to get the get the ground running from day one itself.
Wow! So now, as well as working at the startups, they are studying at Stanford. So they're working full time and studying part time. That's like a job and a half.
Yes, definitely. So it's a difficult experience for the students. So first, as you say, hands-on entrepreneurship experience with the startup itself as an intern there, and we layer that with evening entrepreneurship classes with Stanford, so they understand academically what they're going through in the day and culminating it at night.
Okay, what kinds of classes do they take?
Right. So we start off with a very fundamental class where where Stanford invites entrepreneurs, big name entrepreneurs, to come and share about their aspirations and their and their experience. And after that, after each class is capped off with a discussion session with an entrepreneur leading the class. And another second class is where students get hands-on experience. It's called Global Entrepreneurship Marketing. So they learn about marketing concepts and applying it to startups who have joined the class, and the students can participate in a group of 5 and execute a plan a marketing plan for them.
And there's some sort of mentorship program that's done in association with this? Do the students have mentors?
The students have mentors that the program subscribe to in the Bay Area. So they function two sides. One as a life coach to bridge the gap between the cultural differences of Singapore and the Bay Area, and the other one as an industrial coach where they can share more entrepreneurial aspirations, how to go to the market easier.
So I'm interested in this gap between Singapore on the one hand. You're taking people who have probably never left Singapore before, and then you're putting them in Silicon Valley, which is a very fast-paced situation. How do they react?
So let's move back one step before that. So the program understands that this whole program isn't suited for the entire mass. So what we do is we do a very selective program where we select about 10 to 20% of the applicants, where they have a high capability of academic as well as those who are more entrepreneurial, meaning independent and wanting to step out. So there's a natural self-selection in that process altogether.
And how has that worked out? I mean, you guys select before they come.
Right.
And then do they all work out? Are there any problems?
With every selective program, there's always wrong selections. But I would say more than half the students have worked out pretty well. And based on how they've achieved after the program itself, we've seen that some of them, a good percentage of them, become entrepreneurs themselves once they go back to Singapore. So I think that's a good achievement for the program.
So the people back in Singapore must be pretty happy with this program.
I hope so. That's why the program is still running today.
Okay, let's turn to one of the students, Selian. Now, tell me a little bit about Selian before we turn to him.
So Selian is, I would say, someone who came from a very strong academic background. So you can see Dean's Lister, first class honors economics student, and I think startups is a new experience for him. So why don't Selian tell more about his experience at Newsstand?
Okay, so Selian, what was it like for you to come here? I mean, was it a culture shock? Was it a personal? Did you get insights from coming here? How different was it to come from Singapore to America?
I wouldn't say it's a very big culture shock because, I mean, language-wise and everything, it's pretty much the same. We speak English. It's the first language in Singapore. But what I found really different was the pace, especially in Silicon Valley. Everything is so fast.
Yeah.
And even if you don't know how to do something, you got to learn how to do it within the next few days and get it done.
Now, I always heard that the pace in Singapore was pretty fast too.
And that's what I thought till.
So that was a shock. You couldn't imagine that it could be faster.
Yep.
So tell me about the company that you're interning at.
So we have a consumer app, iPad application, which is actually a social news reader app.
Oh, let's back up a bit. So now we've got the logo, so News Social, right?
Yes.
Is the name of the app.
Correct. It's the name of the iPad application.
Okay.
So essentially what it does is it makes the process of learning a language, learning more knowledge about a certain industry or generally about anything you want to know about, much more fun and engaging. So let's say if you are a master, an expert in the industry of, let's say, computing, and you would like to share your knowledge with your friends, you can easily create a news channel about this computing and share it with friends. And you can even put in your own thoughts on it, your own comments, and also you can share it with your friends. So essentially it's making the whole process of learning new topics more fun and engaging.
Okay, so let's take a look at the application itself. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, sure. So as you can see there are 4 news channels shown up there. And those news channels are actually pulling up content, live content, real life, from over 10,000 publications in our database. So you don't have to work hard to find the content that you're interested in. The content comes chasing after you.
Okay, so if I wanted to do a news channel, what would I have to do?
So all you have to do is, like, if you want to know about computing, you just type the keywords about computing, and then just click enter, and that's all the content will come to you relevant to your search terms that you have keyed in.
Okay, so this is different from Pinterest, right?
Yeah.
So Pinterest, you've got to go out and actually pin the site. Here you're saying it's coming to you. It's more sort of, is it push or pull?
Yeah. So it's different in the sense that all you have to do is just one step, initial process of just putting in whatever you want to know about, and then the content comes to you. And it's also another additional source of information coming from your friends. Let's say if your friend is a computing expert, he's a geek, and he's your friend, and he's willing to share his information, his expertise with you. So he will share an article, his thoughts, his comments with you. So that's another source of information you can actually get from. So that makes the whole process more engaging and fun.
Yeah, you know, Selian, I'm starting to understand what Eric said, that you were Dean's Lister and you're a smart guy and you just hit the ground running on this.
Thank you.
That's pretty good stuff. How long have you been here?
Coming close to 11 months.
And how did you get started? I mean, is there an orientation process?
Before we actually come over here, we have like a 3-day boot camp to get us prepared for this experience.
So did it prepare you?
Yes, definitely, but not entirely for the pace. and yeah, but it was actually good. I mean, it was a good start to actually come to this program.
Yeah.
So
and then you meet you go to the Stanford classes, you go to your startup.
So the first thing we do come here is to actually meet Eric. He would give us an orientation, a speech.
Very important guy. Okay.
So, and after that, we'll be assigned our mentors, and we will get to speak with our mentors who actually guide us and what we should do and how we can do certain things more effectively. And of course, we meet our company founders, CEOs.
Yes.
We work closely with them. And also attend classes, so it's a lot of people we can learn a lot from.
Yeah, I mean, this is a dream come true. I think there are a lot of students here in America who would love to do what you're doing. You guys are really lucky.
Yes.
So do you feel like you are shaping your own learning as you're moving on here?
Yes.
I mean, you're actually talking to the CEOs, you're finding out what the jobs of the future are going to be like.
Yeah, definitely. This is the thing I like about working in startups, because it's not like you're working, you don't even know who you're working for, and you don't even know what exactly you're working about.
Yeah.
So in a startup, you actually get to know exactly, like, okay, today, you get to speak with the CEO, you get to know what he's actually thinking and how he wants the startup to actually go, which direction he wants to bring the startup into in the next couple of weeks or even the next couple of years. So you get to know, plan strategically together with the founder, and also to actually work closely with him.
This sounds like a lot of fun. Now, we've got a picture of you in your cubicle, and you were telling me about the kinds of things you do. So what do you do in your cubicle? What are you doing over there?
So I mentioned, we have an iPad application. So I was just looking through the content, because I also manage the content on our platform. So I'm just making sure the content is all coming out fine. So yeah, that's just a typical day, one of my many tasks in Newsstand.
Okay. They're going to miss you when you leave.
I'm going to miss them too.
So I understand also, in spite of 40 hours a week at the startup, maybe more, how many hours with the Stanford courses?
Probably 4 or 5 a week.
4 or 5 a week. And then you have elected to take an additional finance class?
Yeah.
Okay, tell me, this is like overachiever.
No, not really. I mean, the opportunities here are so much, and we only have got a year here, so just want to grab as much as I can. And
so what have you got out of the finance class?
We got to learn how to actually value companies, look at how you actually, and enterprise value, like how do they actually price a company when it's going to be listed on the stock market. So this is one of the stuff. So there's a lot of financial theories that actually got to learn through this 1 month course, intensive course. It's a 1 month period.
So what was your undergrad major? Can you pick this up?
My degree is in economics. It's not really finance specific, so it's more of the general economics, like macro and micro, but it's not really finance intensive. So it was a really good eye opener. This course really showed me a few things that I didn't learn in my course.
That's great. Okay, now let's shift to Ajay.
Hi.
Now, Eric, introduce Ajay for us.
So AJ has a very different profile from Selian. So AJ, very fortunate for him and the program that he's selected into it. He's already an entrepreneur.
Okay.
So in school, I think even before NUS, he started a few projects on his own. And in NUS itself, there was a highlight where AJ joined a program, and he was the business development head for a team. And that spun off to become a company itself. And a company found it and decided to acquire AJ and his team.
So you're saying that this student, before he came to Silicon Valley, had already started a startup and sold it.
I was lucky.
AJ!
I always say that.
May you always stay lucky.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
So, do you think you still have something to learn by coming here?
Absolutely. I always believe that my acquisition was a lot of being in the right place in the right time, and I think there's so much more that I can actually learn over here.
Yeah.
And being an entrepreneur doesn't always have to be about starting your own company. You can be an entrepreneur within a company, and today I'm working at a startup, and I may not be the founder, but I swear to you, I feel like I am the team. Like, we all feel that way. It's that whole early stage startup spirit. It's amazing.
So, how many people are in the team?
When I started, I think I was the 9th or 10th employee when I first stepped in. And, team lunches used to be like 3 tables, 2 tables. And now, I think 2-3 months on, we're like 16 people strong. Team lunch tables are like 5 tables long. It's amazing. Like, you see people come in, it's growing. Everyone's just adding so much value to the team. And the more people come in, the more people they have to learn from as well. Amazing.
So you can compare that to your own previous experience as a startup in Singapore. And what seems to be striking you is that, wow, it's almost double or tripling in months, right?
Exactly. When I was starting up, I started up in schools. A lot of it was in school. So
How old were you?
I started at 18, then 19, 20, 21, around there.
Okay.
Yeah, and I got quiet at 22. So, but throughout the entire process, I took it very slowly. Whereas over a year, the entire spirit of entrepreneurship, it's to move fast, minimum viable product, lean methodology, just go to market, go to market, go to market. You snap a finger and something's up, something new's up there. So it's very different.
So you're finding the pace. You're really finding a different kind of pace, almost like what Selian was saying.
Exactly, but I like the pace here. Like, when I was starting up, I was trying to fine tune the perfect idea, the perfect product, but it's not it here. It's here you just launch, You make it good looking enough for the market, and then you let the market decide what's best for you.
Yeah.
And that's an amazing strategy. Like, makes me wonder why, you know, I never thought of it.
Okay, so we've got a picture here. Tell us about that.
So that's Halloween, and that really, really is the most phenomenal part of my startup, actually. We have an amazing culture where we work really hard. We work, you know, I don't work the hardest, I'll be honest, but there are people in my team who come in 6 a.m., 7 a.m. morning, and they go back at like 9, 10 p.m. on their own accord. We work hard, but we play just as hard.
Okay, so Halloween, everybody dressed up.
Halloween, everyone dressed up. We've gone rifle shooting. We've gone like baseball games. It's, you know, the whole culture is just, we hang out like a family.
Yeah.
We have families outside, but we work really hard because we love the company.
Wow.
Yeah.
And how long have you been here?
3 months and counting.
So they've kind of totally brainwashed you into this
Absolutely.
in 3 months.
Absolutely. I'd sign my life to them.
Wow. Now tell me a little bit about what it was like to get in, feel like you're really, I mean, to get to the
Sure.
point within 3 months, you're saying, I'll sign my life away. I mean, this is incredible.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta be honest, when I first came in, like week 1, I was like, wow, there's really nothing to do. Because I like to move fast. And when I had nothing to do, I was like, what am I lagging? Is it something wrong with me? But then I realized, you know, it takes some orientation. I got in, within a few months, I had too much to do. So it's like, it's a learning phase. There is a huge learning phase. And once you hit the learning phase, you're on a growth
Okay,
path.
can we dig into that?
Sure.
So how did you transition from there's nothing for me to do to there's too much for me to do? I mean, tell us about that, because that's like the student in startup experience that I want to understand here.
So I think a lot of it comes, it's a very typical intern problem. When you go into a company, you end up making tea or coffee if you don't know what to do. But if you really, really want to do something and you go search for it, there will always be something for you to do. So I do a lot of biz dev and account management, but when there was an off-peak season for that stuff, I pop over to the other departments. I would do user testing. I would hang out with the other departments, and you learn stuff from wherever you are in the company.
Okay,
Yeah.
you're using Silicon Valley terms like biz dev and
sorry.
account. No, it's okay. Did you know these words before you came here?
More or less, but today I can tell you what exactly each term means, better than I could have in Singapore.
Okay.
Definitely.
What does biz dev mean?
So business development here is actually, it replaces what sales always meant. It's building relationships. So you build relationships with client and you develop these relationships from the very start till the client's account closes. So it's like a process, and it takes a long while, but you keep working, you keep trying. Sometimes you don't get responses, but that's what development is. You make it work.
So what was your undergrad?
I'm a business
major?
student.
Okay.
I'm a pure business student. So I have a bit of a theoretical background. Well, let me be honest with you.
Yeah.
Everything I've learned in school, absolutely nothing's been used in the real world. Absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to anyone who ever sees this, but that's my feeling on it.
Yeah.
I've learned so much in startups that I think there's so much more value in an experience like this than anything a school can feed a student.
Okay, so let me open the conversation now to all three of you. One thing that's really interesting to me about having students be in startups is, can this supplement or replace higher education? What are your thoughts about that? Just teeing off what AJ said.
I don't think it can be a replacement. I think it really is a supplement where you are building upon what you learn in school. So I really am supporting science, engineering, and more technical skills. And with that knowledge and with your working experience in startup, you can build real value. If you do not have one of the two, it's really hard for you to understand what goes on out there.
Okay, so now we've heard the view from the man. Okay, now what do you guys think?
Yeah, I agree with Eric in the sense that it's a good supplement to mainstream education, but at the same time, I feel, at least in Singapore's context, more emphasis needs to be placed on this supplement. So now too much weightage being placed on just education, on studying.
Formal
Yeah.
education.
So more experience, hands-on learning needs to be conducted.
AJ?
Don't get me wrong, I believe in the value of education and learning. I just think how it's done right now is very force-fed, very traditional, and it's not geared towards today's world, today's fast-moving world.
Okay.
You cannot just pick a student out of class and ask him to do a real project in real life. That's not how it works.
So this is an amazing program that Singapore is doing. Let's take a look at the map where Singapore is taking students around the world.
Right.
So tell me about that.
So we have about 7 locations worldwide now, and one new location which is not on the map, and I guess you guys have first dibs, is that we are opening our New York college come January. And we specifically chose different locations around the world based on focus.
Okay.
So
Well, what's the focus in Manhattan?
So we've deliberately chose Manhattan for its creative arts.
Okay.
So we want students to be immersed in the whole entertainment industry itself.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
So now there's 7 other places on that map.
That's right.
Let's talk about Shanghai.
Shanghai is really an interesting place. So what we are trying to focus on is service sector as well as the financial sector. So let me give you an example, Melin. Service sector, we are really throwing the students into deep pool where the students need to become waiters and they have to become service staff, but it doesn't end there. So after work itself, they go back to their bosses and understand what's the process, what they have gone through throughout the day. So we're really throwing them in the deep pool in Shanghai.
Here in Silicon Valley, the emphasis is on technology and technology startups.
Right.
What about the other places?
So we are looking at Philadelphia, specifically at medical and biotechnology. Stockholm, which mirrors?
Stockholm, Sweden.
Stockholm, Sweden.
Okay.
And we are looking at quite a similar mirror to technology in Silicon Valley, but looking at it in a European angle. And there is a strong accent of clean tech there as well. So they have a good mix there.
This is a huge range of possibilities. How did you guys choose where to go, or do you get assigned? How does it work?
For me, it was a surefire Silicon Valley thing. I've been in tech startups for a while, and for me, Silicon Valley is just the heart of it all. Like, if you don't go to the Silicon Valley and you don't learn about tech startups in Silicon Valley, it's really no place else on earth.
Okay.
Yeah, and for me, I heard from many friends who actually came on this program and specifically to the Silicon Valley, and I heard from them, they said that if you want to learn about entrepreneurship, come to where it really begin and to where it really thrives. So yeah.
I got to add on, the best part of the Silicon Valley program is it's the only program where you can drive your own car.
Oh.
In California.
Okay. So let's take a look at the next graphic, because I think one of the big things about internships is to get a job, right? So what's going on here, Eric?
So this is at the very end of this particular student's internship experience. So his name is Glenn, so a little shout out for him. So his startup, Rocket Fuel, so that is one of his mentor in the startup, is congratulating him at the event itself and broke out to him that, hey, I'm going to offer you a job once you are done with NUS.
Okay, so the students have, what year are you in university when you come here?
I'm in my 3rd year.
I'm in my 3rd year as well.
Okay, so then you take a year off, you come here. So that student had to go back and finish?
Just a semester, which is 6 months.
Okay, and then he came back and worked here. And does that happen a lot?
Not too many, so probably 1 or 2 in a batch, and we have 2 batches a year.
How many in a batch?
So about 15 students in a batch on average.
15?
1-5.
Okay, great. Super. So let's take a look at the next graphic. Looks like you guys are having fun there.
Yeah, I really like this one, because if you look at the graphic, you won't know which one is the student. So
okay, so this is a picture of people in a startup.
Exactly. So this is a picture in the startup. So they have just finished a road show where they were showcasing their product, and they're just having some fun pics, and it shows how well the students has assimilated it within the team itself.
Okay, super. So let's take a look at the last graphic, where this is stuff that happens outside of the main thing. Go ahead, Eric.
This is actually this one picture before that. This is actually one startup that is quite hot in Silicon Valley itself. It's called Visually. It's a data visualization company, and you can see that the students bonding very well.
So which one is the student?
Well. So take your pick, Maylin. Which one do you think he is?
He.
Yeah, so he's a he. So that's one two there.
Second from the right. No?
No,
Okay.
no, not really. So just let one more thing before I let the cat out of the bag. One more try.
One more try.
One more
okay, the fourth from the left.
It's actually the second one from the left, where he's carrying a very huge placard. Yeah.
Bad guesser.
There you go.
They blend in.
That's fine.
They blend in. So let's look at the last graphic here. What's going on?
So students, being in the valley itself, there's a lot of events happening, and this picture shows that Students do a lot of things outside their internship itself. This picture in particular shows that students are volunteering in TechCrunch Disrupt. I think this should be in 2011, where they are doing guest registration for this one.
You guys do keep busy. So, Selian, you were telling me earlier about your volunteering. What were you doing?
Wasn't really volunteering, but we actually, in our free times, there are several hackathons going on in the Valley. And
Hackathons?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
So do you program?
No, me not being a techie, so
Okay.
I just wanted to know what it feels like to be part of a hackathon. So it was an amazing experience. I mean, you go there and you're given a bunch of APIs and you're told you have 24 hours to program something and present it.
Yeah.
So that you see the whole environment there. It's pretty inspiring, although I'm not a techie, but I can feel the,
Yeah.
the whole atmosphere. So it's
Yeah.
it's a very nice idea, concept.
So I kind of want to wrap it up now, where you tell, what would you say to other students who might be considering whether or not to pursue something like this?
Why would they even consider it? It's an obvious answer. I mean, this is one of the few things in life that you will do that will forever add value to everything else that you do. It's a spin-off. It's a great spin-off.
Selian?
And for me, I think every student should try interning at a startup at least once, because you get to learn more about yourself, about your strengths and weakness, primarily because you get the freedom to experiment, to try your hands at different tasks.
Yeah.
And so you get to learn more about yourself and expand your knowledge by a large amount by working at a startup.
Wow.
Absolutely.
You are really in a great job enabling
you.
great students like this to just come to Silicon Valley and find themselves, discover their potential.
Thank you, Maylin.
Oh, thank you for
Thank you.
coming. Thank you. So this is it for Just Picture It. We're so happy to have the students from
you're welcome.
Singapore tell us about what it's like to come and work in startups. And I think this gives a whole new vision of how formal education can be supplemented. And so I'd like for you to just picture it. If many, many students, and not just students from Singapore, have a chance to work in startups as part of their hands-on experience. See you next time.